invitation to be a part of your conference and to trust that the Lord would give us something to impart into the saints of God, to the leaders. And so we have considered the heart of your leader. And in talking to him, one of the things I know his heart is concerned for many of the things that's happening on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and that leader and the things that he is doing that is going to have and has had some devastating effects on our people of color. And so with that said, he will continue to do things that are not in our best interest. And you know, we always look at that as a negative when people are doing things against us. But I kind of also look at it that it's a negative, but I look at it as a positive, because it oftentimes forces us as a people to rise up and be our very best. When we have it too easy, we don't seem to do as well. But when the pressure get on, it's something about black folk, we will get the job done. And so, although we may have never in history have seen a man like the occupant today, it's certainly not the first time in history that we've seen people do things that have negative effects on our community. And I'm just happen to be just at that age to be a little bit old enough to know and to remember a particular president and his policies and how they devastated our communities. But I learned even from that, we shall rise again. And I'm thinking about in 1980 when Ronald Reagan took over. And some of y'all are old enough to remember him as president and his policies. He was not as overtly mean-spirited as the one occupying today. But whether you're overtly mean-spirited or very quietly with it, whatever the case, we don't really care. I don't even care if you're racist. That don't bother me. What bothers me is that your policies are racist. And when your policies are racist, I don't care how you present it, it's going to hurt us as a people. And I remember the things that he was doing. He had this thing that they call trickle-down economics, where the belief was make rich people richer, just make them richer, and somehow that we'll get the trickle-down effect. So it never trickled down, y'all. It did not come down to us. But what did happen was we saw businesses in our neighborhoods close. We saw our unemployment rate as a people skyrocket. We saw the onslaught of crack cocaine in our cities and devastated an entire generation from that crack epidemic. We also saw the rise of AIDS and how that devastated our community from the drug use and the needles and things like that. So he was president, went in office in 1980, came out in 1988, and never made a public statement about AIDS until 1987. You know, after hundreds of thousands of us and people who look like us, families have been devastated and things. So those type of things, what we're experiencing now is not new, is what I'm telling you. But what I also saw is how God moved in the 1980s. I happened to have a father in the gospel in the 1980s that when all of this was happening, when people were losing jobs, when churches were barely being able to pay their bills because the saints didn't have incomes and things were beholding, I saw this man of God take a property that was valued at $250,000 at the time and build onto this property that after the building was done, it was worth $2 million. This was done in the midst of all of that stuff that I just told you about, in the midst of the devastating policies that devastated our people. And somebody said, well, that's nice, but that ain't a great accomplishment. Anybody go get a loan and do. But he did it with never going to a bank. When the building was complete, it was paid for. There was no mortgage on it. The saints of God paid for this building as it was being built. And so that's what made it such a miracle, that it was the people of God, because they had a mind to work, to get it done. So now, in saying all that, wanted to present something for us, because I believe Bishop Wallace wants his leaders to be able to figure out, how do you navigate the waters when things start getting really bad. And so I think we have something that will help. And to start out with it, we're saying a kingdom blueprint for not just surviving, but thriving. We don't have to just make it. I'm so sick of folk who are satisfied with just making it. Don't you ever want more than just making it? We ought to have an expectation that if I'm a child of God, if I want to eat steak, I can eat steak. I'm okay with eating pork and meat, but if I want to eat a steak, as a child of God, I ought to be able to eat a steak. And we ought to be able to do that because we are people of God. So the conference theme, standing, still standing, and stand still and see the salvation of God. Standing still. Pharaoh's army behind them, the Red Sea before them, no way out until God said, stand still. Then he opened up a way where there was no way. Today, our community faces the same crosswords. Dollars draining out, economic pressure closing in on every side. But the God who parted the waters is speaking again, saying, stand still, build together, and watch me move. This blueprint is the dry ground beneath our feet, the pathway through the sea of economic turmoil. So if being a preacher, like we like themes, when preaching, if you don't remember what he said, you usually remember the topic. Am I right about it? So our topic today is lock the door. Don't let that dollar leave yet. Lock the door. Don't let that dollar leave. Most of us, if you say, what could help you solve all your financial problems? Most of us will say, give me some more money. If I got more money, I can get rid of my financial problems. But the fact of the matter is, we're moving into a time that you may not have more money to get, that your people, your saints, are taking reduced paying jobs, that being laid off, that jobs are closing. So what do I do if I can't raise the income? If the income is not going up, but it's going, how do I make it? Well, the University of Georgia did a study. And in this study, they found out that our community has a major problem. And that is, our money leaves our community faster than any other community, and it does not return. That creates a major problem for us. So as a people, if we can manage to keep the money we have in our community, it can benefit us drastically. So as black pastors, Our number one financial problem is our dollars leave our sphere of influence at lightning speeds. And so I wanted to show you the results of this study that was done and how we compare to other ethnic groups. Asian community, their dollars stay in their community for 28 days. That is a whole month that $1 keeps moving and moving and moving around their community. The Jewish community, their dollars stay in their community for 20 days. In the white community, their dollars stay for 17 days. The black community, would anybody venture to guess how long our dollar stays with us? 3 days? You're so generous. 6 hours. The study said our dollar stays in our community for 6 hours. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you ever heard compared to everybody else? What does that mean? It means we as a black people are the only people who won't patronize each other. Why is it that you think the white man's ice is colder than Bishop Wallace ice? Why is it that we think that we have accomplished something by going to these downtown banquet halls, sitting in the midst of a bunch of white folk who don't want you there in the first place, giving you some half-done string beans, and they counting how many they put on the plate anyway? Instead of saying, we got cooks, we got buildings, we can have our own stuff. That's what this is about, having your own. 6 hours versus 17 to 28 days, a gap of over 60 times. No wonder we can't get ahead. A vision of what could be. And a vision of what could be only happens if we have, like Nehemiah declared, a people with a mind to work. To build a self-sustaining economic ecosystem across the fellowship where every dollar spent is an investment in your members and ministry's future. I heard Bishop say something last night about when you give, you're not giving, but you're sowing. And that seed comes back in your future. And that's what we have to realize. Every dollar we spend has power. And we give away our power when we don't do things to benefit ourselves. When you circulate your dollars among yourselves, you don't just spend, you sow. Every transaction becomes a seed planted in the soil of your collective prosperity. This is not an economic strategy, not just an economic strategy. It is a biblical mandate to care for one another and build the kingdom through intentional stewardship. We ought to be intentional about every dollar we spend. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. What does dollar circulation look like? This is a very small scale of what it could look like. Take Sister Johnson, spends $100 at Brother Davis's catering business. 2 saints. Brother Davis uses $50 to buy supplies from Sister Carter's wholesale company, keeping the dollar. with the saints. Sister Carter pays $25 to Brother Mitchell for delivery service, keeping the money among the saints. Brother Mitchell deposits $25 at the community credit union. The credit union lends $200 to a new member starting a cleaning business. In other words, even when we are ready to let our dollar go, we got to be intentional about where we put it. Because most major banks will not lend to you in your community. Credit unions often will. $100 purchase, multiplied jobs touch, multiple jobs touch, multiple families bless, $1 many hands, maximum impact. $100 initial purchase, multiplied into 5 jobs touch, 5 families bless. So in your church, from one thing, 5 of your members could have been blessed. And guess what? All of them are tithe payers. So all of them paying on what they got blessed with. Continue with our theme. This vision is built on several pillars. Pillar number 1, buy within. Stand with your saints and spend where it sows. Prioritize purchasing goods and services from members of your fellowship. Why are we looking for everybody else oftentimes when those talents and gifts are right among us? Think larger than your local assembly. Become what I like to call saint-conscious economic thinkers. You have to think about your money. You got to think about how you're blessing somebody else and where your money is going. Before buying anything, ask, does someone in our fellowship sell this or provide this service? You need a plumber. How many churches you got, Bishop, in the fellowship? 17 churches. You're not going to tell me it ain't a plumber in 17 churches. Why not find the plumber out the 17 churches? Get them. And that way they sow into their church, they tithe into their church, and that comes back a portion to the fellowship. Develop a fellowship business directory to find member businesses and services. There ought to be a directory that every church, every pastor is saying, if you got a business, you put it down here. We're going to print it out. We're going to make sure every church in the fellowship is able to access you so that you can be blessed because you bless the fellowship. Commit to redirecting at least 25% of church vendors' budget monthly with fellowship businesses and services. This is a conservative percentage and prayerfully will be much higher. What are you saying? I'm saying as pastors, we have the power to direct the funds that come into our church. And so since we have that power, there's certain things we all need. Every church needs a electrician. Every church needs from time to time a plumber. Every church needs a cleaning service. You know, some folk, that's what they do. They clean. You know, I know the old days, we as saints, we cleaned the churches and we did it for free because we love the Lord. Folk ain't doing stuff for free and all that now. You're going to pay somebody, if you got a church like mine anyway, because folk look at my church, I can't do that for nothing. But, okay, a man is worthy of a hire. So we should not begrudge paying somebody to do something. But if I got to pay somebody, isn't it better to pay us? Example of things we can redirect: electricians, plumbers, chefs, cleaning companies, sound technicians, musicians, photographers, landscapers, exterminators, snow removal, IT specialists. That's just to name a few. These are all things we already do. We already need all this stuff. I was talking to Elder Wallace a little while ago, my wife and I, because she's in charge of our media. She likes the media set up here. Elder, would you come to Philly? We'll pay you. Help us get us set up. Why would I go outside when I got folk who are a blessing that we can be a blessing to? This is what we're trying to teach. Announce member-owned businesses and services during Sunday service. If you don't have time to read a whole list, at least in your Sunday bulletin, make mention of it. If you need this, maybe highlight one business a week, whatever it is. But let's grow our businesses that are among us. Host quarterly fellowship economic days where members showcase their business and services. We all, they like to have flea markets and different stuff. Take the parking lot, put a bunch of tables out and tell folks, set your business up so people can come and see what you have to offer and see how we can support that type of thing. Galatians 6:10, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Stand by your saints, hire from within your house. Churches should hire member-owned businesses for events. I think about pastors looking for caterers. All the cooks we got among us as a people, and we're going to try to find people that you don't know if they smoking weed over your food when they cooking it or not. I'm serious. You don't know if you got some ashes in your greens or not. They got cigarettes while they cooking your green. We as a church, we should be making sure we're hiring from within. When you need a service, hire from your own fellowship first. If no one has the skill, support other black businesses. You can still keep the dollars in your neighborhood. Create a skills and service registry. Each member lists what they can offer. There are businesses in people that they don't even know they have. My niece, my brother-in-law has ALS, and my niece went on and she got all of these resources from the Veterans Administration for her mother. They basically came in my sister's house, gutted it, redid it from top to bottom, new bathrooms, new finished basement, they gave her a brand new van, they gave her all this stuff that we don't know we eligible for. But my niece reads, and she read that stuff and found, you ain't got time most of the time to read that, but if you hire somebody, they can get a lot of resources for you that you don't know you're eligible for. It's a business. Help promote each other's businesses. Tell somebody did this for me, and they did an outstanding job. It was great. So we built the wall for the people who had a mind to work. Critical reminders and mindset shifts. We have to change the way we think. Craigslist, Angie's List, Amazon, hotel banquet halls, and total strangers hired from Google, remember, none of them tied back to our local churches. You keep going to get these people, but ain't none of them dollars coming back. Be intentional about every dollar spent, like your survival depends on it, because it really does. If we're going to survive, we have to rethink how we think. Not finding what you need in the fellowship directory is not a bad thing. It is an opportunity to help a member start a new business. You need something and don't nobody do it? One of them pastors will say, but somebody in my church is talented enough to do that. Pastors lead by example, by hiring within for church projects. I'm in the midst of a major renovation project in my church right now. We are renovating our banquet facility. And as of today, we started this project just about a month ago, maybe a little bit over a month ago. 100% of the work thus far has been done in-house. Everybody in-house. I had mothers in the basement breaking down sheetrock. I was trying to say, Mother, you want to go upstairs and wipe the pews? No, I'm good. Just pick up. Saints get excited when they know they're needed. And when you overlook them, they don't say nothing, but you kill a little bit in them. You keep people engaged, and they'll rise up, they'll show up. Every unmet need is a business waiting to be born within your fellowship. Stand firm on firm ground, bank where it builds. Sometimes we just give away our power. We just give it away. 17 churches. What would happen if all 17 churches banked at the same bank? When you walked into that bank, they got to listen to you. You as an individual may not mean nothing, but as a group, you got power. Move your money to institutions that reinvest in our community. You got 17 churches. You can go to a bank and say, I want to know what you're doing in our community. How are you helping us? How are you going to lend to us? How are you going to grant us some money? We don't want just loans. We want some stuff we ain't got to pay back because we know you got the money to do it. When you got power with the collective, you can get a lot more done. Encourage your youth to maximize their leverage with their 401k, 403bs, and retirement savings account. Invest every dollar that will be matched by the employer. This is one thing I drive home to because we have a lot of college graduates who are now starting their careers. And I want them to start thinking now in their early 20s about retirement. And you leave free money on the table when your job say we'll match 5% of the 401k and you don't put nothing in it. You're giving away money. You got to help them understand that. Community credit unions lend back to our neighborhoods. Big banks often don't. But who better to lend to us than us? Sometimes folk ain't gonna give you nothing, but position yourself, you can lend to one another. Didn't the scripture say we be the lender and not the borrower? Hello, somebody. Create a fellowship community lending circle for members starting businesses. collective power. When churches bank together, negotiate together, and purchase together, their collective voice becomes impossible to ignore. Churches in the fellowship should, when possible, move as a collective body financially. Stop doing stuff individually. When you got brothers and sisters, if we all need floor tile, let's all go together. If we all need chairs, let's all go together. When you pull power together, you maximize your power. Bank with the same institution, if possible. Black-owned, if possible. Buy large purchases together, when possible. Use the same insurance carrier when possible. You know how you could drive down the price of insurance on churches? You put 17 of them together and go and say, we want the best deal we can get, and we're going to shop as one group. Use the same trash pickup service and other services when possible. I don't know about y'all, but we pay $500 a month to have our trash removed. We could reduce that if you got a whole bunch of people in this. And Baltimore seems to be y'all stronghold. Everybody in Baltimore using the same one. Y'all get the price reduced. Wherever your strength in numbers can be leveraged, you should take advantage of it. Invest within. Stand for the future generations. Invest in your seed. Pool resources to create wealth-building opportunities for your members. Create a community investment fund. What this looks like is small monthly contributions from each congregation to start building a fund. So somebody need $1,000, $1,500 just to get through the incorporation process. Just do some small stuff. You got it to either give them or lend them. Everything don't have to be a loan. There's some gifts you can give. Fund member startups with microloans or low or no interest. Invest in a community real estate. Own the buildings where you worship. If your organization start buying property and somebody not ready, a pastor not ready to buy a property, well, if they got to pay rent anyway, why not pay it back towards a fellowship-owned property? Ecclesiastes 4:9, 2 are better than one. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Building generational wealth. Establish a fellowship scholarship fund for youth, education, and trade training. You know, I remember when I was in high school, trades were free. You just went. When you got out of high school, you could go right into plumbing, auto mechanics, hairdressing, beauticians, and now they've done away with that in free high school. And so if you want to be a beautician, you got to go one of these empire schools and come out with $40,000, $50,000 worth of debt. Same thing with learning how to work on a car. They've done away with that. We should be able to try to help some of our young people who maybe not want to go to college, but they want to trade. Everybody not college material, y'all. I know we don't like to say stuff like that, but some people are much better working with their hands. Support cooperative ownership models, fellowship-owned grocery stores, fellowship-owned laundromats. My pastor used to teach us every single thing that we need, everything we need should be in the church. If it's a laundromat, if it's a no matter what it is, it should be in the church. Produce from within. Stand on the land God gave you. Grow from the blessing. The most precious natural resource God has given the earth is land. With skyrocketing food prices and inflation that is out of control, we need to help use the resources that God has given us. Start gardens in your local fellowship churches. Can, freeze, preserve whatever we produce for when it is needed the most. Don't wait for the government and others to address issues in our community that God has given us the power to do ourselves, such as food insecurity. There's some things we can do to help ourselves. And I hope this don't sound, but I get sick of us waiting on people to do stuff for us that we can do for ourselves. You know, I was in a meeting one time some years ago, and they were talking about, it was a safe corridor meeting, trying to make sure the kids get to school safely because of the drug traffic and the gangs and all of this stuff, and everybody fussing because the city won't give them money to buy walkie-talkie. I'm like, buy your own walkie-talkie. These your kids. We got to quit waiting on people to do stuff for us and get up. Our pastor taught us that God stood for go out and do. Get up and do something. God gave us land. Let us use it to feed our families and build self-sufficiency. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. What we can grow, vegetables, litany of them. Everybody in here like collard greens, string beans, and sweet potatoes and white. We can grow that stuff. My niece, she got a backyard about the space of this pulpit, and she produces more food in that little space, nothing big, just little. And I don't have no ground. I don't have no dirt. Everything's cement. She don't use the dirt. She used these potted things, and she just got growing stuff in bags and growing stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that she's growing. And she's helping us do the same thing at the church, to grow our own food. Stuff that we can, how much can you help your members save on their grocery bills if we start doing this? Build a community directory. Connect every member to fellowship businesses and services. Catering and event planning, home repair and maintenance, beauty and barber, legal services, financial services, health and wellness, child care and tutoring, automotive. Somebody told, how much did you tell me somebody was charging for daycare the other day? $500 a week. If somebody charging $500 a week for daycare and folk are getting it, why aren't we, when they could pay us pennies, we were the best thing to watch white folks' children. Now, is money in it, what, we ain't good enough to do it no more? Technology, real estate, cleaning services, life insurance, and mortician. I want to be, I tell folk, the most recession-proof business is a mortician. Folk dying, if they, as Mr. Brown said, folk dying that they never died before. You always gonna have some folk dying. And they make money. Let me tell you, they make money. I had a mortician tell me, he said, Bishop, I was making money so fast, it felt like drug money. It made me nervous the money was rolling in so fast. Action steps. Each pastor appoints a directory or coordinator. Survey all members to catalog businesses, skills, and services. Publish a shared digital directory accessible to all in the fellowship. Update quarterly, add new businesses and members as members grow or start new ventures. Each member of the fellowship commits to spend at least $50 a month at fellow members' businesses outside of their own local church. Collective impact. If you got at least 500 members between 17 churches, 50 of them spend, that's $25,000 a month circulating in the fellowship. Now, I want you to think about this. You're not asking people to come up with a $50 they didn't have. That's not what you're asking them. You're asking them to take $50 they already spend and spend it somewhere else. Spend it with you. So you're not asking people to come up with new money. Now think about this. $500 times 500 members creates a $250,000 monthly circulation in your fellowship. I don't know about you, I see Bishop Wallace and Bishop Russell and young man over here, they might not use much in the way of barbers, but I pay, I pay at least $50 every couple of weeks. That's $100 at a barber. I gotta spend that whether I spend it with us or not. Your members have to spend it, and I know you women going to the hairdresser. Y'all going to the hairdresser if y'all don't do nothing else. Y'all getting your nails done if you don't do nothing else. You gonna get that done. That is priority. That's money. And what y'all spend for nails and stuff now? A whole lot. But you do it. You got people in your fellowship who probably do nails, probably certified to do nails. Why aren't all you women who doing nails going to the person in the fellowship that do nails? That's why you need the directory. This is what it could look like. Because what you need to do is not just spend money and don't nobody know what's spent. Everything needs to be measured. You'll see further in here in the slideshow, it says that which is measured multiplies. When you don't give account for what's being spent and you don't know what's being spent, you'll never know whether it grew or not. But you create a tier system. People who could say, people like, you know what I know about us? We competitive. We like competition. Y'all don't want, y'all saved and I got it. But people like competition. And they want to be a part of a bronze or platinum member. And and here's the thing, you aren't asking them to give you $100. This is not an offering pan that you're holding. You're saying take that $100 a month that you spend on your nails and spend it somewhere in the fellowship. Tracking and recognition. Track your spending and share receipts with your congregation's coordinator. In other words, what that looks like is if you have spent, you found somebody in the fellowship that do nails, and you say, every time you do my nails, I want a receipt. So now I'm going to the coordinator in my church and say, I spent this, so I'm now a bronze member, I'm a gold member, I'm a platinum member. And then monthly recognition from the pulpit for top participants. So the pastor can get up and appreciate you and tell you and make sure everybody know what you're doing, that you're not just giving money in the offering, but you're making sure that your dollars mean something that's outside of the offering table. Tracking your progress. Total monthly fellowship spending. Aggregate dollars circulated within the fellowship. Number of member businesses patronized. Unique businesses supported each month. Launched new businesses launched, startups seeded through fellowship support. Jobs created within fellowship, employment opportunities generated internally. Congregation participation rate, percentage of members actively engaged. You have to measure what you're doing or you'll never know what you're doing. And when you measure it, you can figure out where do we need to pull up, what are our strengths, what is working and what is not working. Reporting structure. Monthly congregation reports. Each congregation reports monthly to the central coordinator. There has to be one person that's collecting all the data, but one person from every church to feed that data. Quarterly fellowship reviews. Quarterly reports shared across the fellowship to track collective growth. Annual economic impact summit. Celebrate progress, recognize top participants, and set ambitious new goals. What gets measured gets multiplied. Accountability drives economic performance and transformation. Addressing concerns. I gotta pick it up. What if fellowship businesses charge too much? As black people, that's the first thing we say. I can go down to Joe Slappenstein and get it cheaper. Your spending helps them grow and reduce costs. They'll never be able to compete with the chinks down the street if you don't support them. Your investment is in long-term wealth, not just saving a few dollars today. What if the quality isn't as good? Give feedback, not abandonment. As soon as we don't do something that measure up to you want to throw us away. But you just keep on going to these other folk, giving them time and time and time again to get it wrong. We only get one shot at getting it wrong. Loyal customers build excellent business. Teach owners the spirit of excellence. There's some stuff that's not innate in people. They need to be taught. They need to be taught to be excellent in everything they do. I can't afford to spend extra. This isn't about spending more. It's about redirecting what you already spend. Same budget, different vendors. This sounds like we're excluding others. We're not excluding, we're prioritizing. Every strong community takes care of its own first. Our commitment to growth is stronger than a few correctable concerns. You have to be committed to, I'm sticking with this. addressing hindrances, overcoming the barriers that block our collective progress, unchecked egos. Everyone must check their ego at the door. Egos make leaders prioritize personal recognition over a collective mission. This ain't about you, it's about us. Turning meetings into power struggles instead of productive sessions. When everybody worried about their feelings, keep your feelings in the car. We don't need that. We need solutions. We need progress. We need answers. Prevent leaders from submitting to one another. When people get their ego all out of whack, who they think they talking to, I'm a great chief apostle, so man, go sit down. We trying to get something done. Don't nobody care about your titles. Egos cause division over titles, position, and prominence. When you're concerned about where you sit in ranking, you can't get nothing done. Jealousy breeds competition instead of collaboration. Causes preachers to withhold resources, connections, and opportunities. Creates an atmosphere of suspicion and distrust that poisons unity. Prevents celebrating one another's success and growth. We all ought to be happy when somebody is successful. Equality versus fairness. This is a major hindrance among us as a people. The strong must bear the infirmities of the weak. True equality means each gives 100% effort according to ability and resources. You cannot expect somebody that have 5 members to do what somebody who have 100 members to do. And when you put that kind of pressure on people, it's a disaster. It's a cause for failure. So true equality means if you do the best you can and I do the best I can, we're equal. True fairness says everyone receives back according to need and not greed. Because some people want to receive back according to greed, not what they need. Laziness and slothfulness. See, this is what I have no tolerance for. I can't deal with lazy folk, and I can't deal with slothfulness. The slothful hand makes the fellowship poor. Laziness causes deadlines to be missed and commitments to be broken, stalling momentum of the mission. When a few carry all the weight, resentment builds and unity crumbles. God blesses the work of our hands, but there must be work for him to bless. Lack of trust. Trust that the leader is being led by God. Distrust breeds second guessing that paralyzes decision making. Building trust requires transparency, consistency, and patience. Operating outside of your calling. This is one of our big ones. People want to do what God knows they ain't called or anointed to do. Operate where God has gifted you. Forcing yourself into roles outside of gifting produces frustration, not fruit. When everyone operates in their calling, the whole body functions effectively. Desire alone is not qualification. I might desire to be an NFL quarterback, but my desire and my qualification don't match. Seek confirmation through prayer, counsel, and your leadership. If everything you touch keep failing, you need to ask your pastor, you think God want me to do it? He'll tell you no. Stepping outside of your lane can hinder those who are called to do the work. When you're trying to force yourself somewhere you don't believe, those who God had put there to do it, just take a back seat, because they're not going to fight. Unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. Stingy shepherds. A stingy shepherd undervalues the work of God and the workers in his vineyard. If you are a leader, it costs you something. When I was a brother and they were about to make me a deacon, they told me up front, if you ain't ready to step up, because every level gonna cost you some more money. I found out, Bishop, they wasn't lying to me. I found out every time there's a consecration, it costs you more than the last step you had. You're going from an elder to a bishop, elder to overseer. You better open up your wallet. It's going to cost you some money. Stinginess in ministry signals to the flock that the mission isn't worth the sacrifice. When people see you as leaders won't give, why should they? A tight-fisted shepherd breeds a culture of sarcasm instead of kingdom abundance and generosity. The people will only give generously as the leader models. Stinginess from the pulpit breeds stinginess in the pews. A shepherd who withholds resources from the vision tells God the assignment isn't worth the investment. When shepherds won't invest in the sheep, it demoralizes doing the work and stalls the mission. God honors faithful stewardship. Sow generously, and the harvest will follow. Stinginess robs the next generation of the infrastructure they need to thrive. We want our young people in church, but we don't want to pour in to make sure they got something to stay in. The early church shared everything in common. Hoarding has no place in the kingdom economics. A generous shepherd attracts generous people and creates a culture where giving flows freely. Whosoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Here is food for thought. You should remember that you can accomplish great and mighty things if you don't care who gets the credit. When you're a credit hog, you won't get the things done. You can't stand still if you're tripping over each other. Overcome these hindrances and watch God move. Pastor leadership role, you set the tone, you set the example, your congregation follows your lead. Preach kingdom economics from the pulpit. Dedicate at least one sermon per month to biblical stewardship and economic unity. Make it a part of your church's DNA, not a one-time topic. Lead by example. Spend within first. Your congregation watches where you spend before they listen to what you preach. Appoint and empower an economic coordinator. Don't carry this alone. Identify someone with a passion for business and organization. Give them the authority to build the directory, track spending, and report monthly, then hold them accountable. Celebrate and recognize participation publicly. Highlight member businesses from the pulpit, recognize circulation, challenge participants monthly. When the people see their pastors celebrating economic faithfulness, it becomes contagious. Connect, collaborate, and build bridges. Partner with other pastors in the fellowship, share resources, cross-promote businesses, and coordinate joint economic initiatives. The blueprint only works when the body moves as one. Be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. 1 Timothy 4:12. As a member of this fellowship, commit to buy from your brothers and sisters first before looking elsewhere. Hire from within the business, from within the fellowship whenever possible. Move your banking to institutions that invest in our neighborhoods. Contribute to fellowship investment funding monthly. Encourage and promote businesses from your fellowship members. Track your fellowship spending and participate in monthly circulation challenge. Pray for the economic empowerment of your fellowship, sealed in faith and unity. This is what it looks like, 90-day launch, foundation. Each congregation appoints an economic coordinator, conduct member businesses and skills survey, begin building the community directory, pastors preach on kingdom economics, build the foundation, activate the network, then accelerate towards lasting economic impact. Phase 2, 31 to 60 days, publish and distribute the community directory, launch the 50-day monthly circulation challenge, begin monthly tracking and reporting, host the first fellowship economic day. 61 to 90, launch the community investment fund, first quarterly economic impact report, identify the first micro loan cause to be funded, plan an annual economic impact summit, stand for success by planning for it. If you want to succeed, remember the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Let's circulate our dollars in our community. Still standing. Many congregations, one vision, one economy, standing together. Every dollar spent is a vote for your people and ministry success. Let's vote for our people in our community with our dollars. Philippians 2 and 4, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. I am complete. I'm sorry, I know I went over time, Bishop. God bless you.
Questions? Questions?
No, they wasn't breaking up cement, let me say. They were down in the basement and we had a wall. They were just pulling some sheetrock down. And, you know, you as a leader, you know what people can do. You know what they can. And we didn't put anybody in harm's way. But it was just a matter of them wanting to say, I put my hands on this. You know, because I stood up in church and said, the carpet, we need the men down here on a certain day to rip up this carpet. And then when I got at church, I got bombarded by some young people said, Bishop, and these were women, They said, we can rip up carpet. They were offended that I didn't include them in the statement. And so I get the liability piece. We do have to, I think, be cautious with certain things, but we got to use common sense too. And people, she wasn't doing nothing that was going to hurt her. She was doing something just to be able to say, when we go in and celebrate that room, I was a part of that. Any other questions? What's your thoughts on it? Yes, Bishop.
I don't have a question, but I see that happening in the church, at Triumphant Church. My wife just launched the business. She's always done. My wife just launched the business. I see this economic planning happening at Triumphant Church in Durham. She launched the business and she calls it Gracelit. So she just started doing her own candles, and they smell better than anything I've smelled before. But at the same time, there's another lady in the church that I've started to get all my soaps from, and body butter, and all of this stuff that I get. And then we have restaurant owners. So it's like if I'm spending my money and I want some good soul food, I know where to go get the soul food from. And then if I want for my house to smell good, I can go to my wife. And then if I want the soap and I want lotions and all kind of stuff, I can go to the same person in the church. So my dollar is staying within our community because of who I spend my money with. And I also like the piece that you said when you was talking about being able to make whomever you buy from excellent. And if they're willing to take advice, and I think that becomes a lot of the issues in our community. Some people don't want to take advice. But if you take advice, then you'd be surprised where your business may go. And I love that these two ladies are willing to just take advice. And so their businesses are thriving because of what they're willing to do. Yes.
I think, give me one second. I think what you said is excellent. In my church, my daughter makes candles as well. And I think she does some other stuff. My wife sells hair and hair products. What were you giving? Nails. She does nails. And like I say, my wife sells all that, what they call them, lots or bundles or something like that. She sells all this. And here's the thing. We live in a different day than we did in 1980. You can be in Philadelphia and your customer base can be in Baltimore, or you can have a customer base in Philly and your business is in Baltimore, because the world has closed in. And shipping, you can get something overnight real quick. My son, he's an electrician. He's also a sound technician. He goes up and down the East Coast, traveling to churches, doing their sound for them, and helping them. And so there are a lot of businesses. But what you said is so important. The spirit of excellence. And I was thinking about this. We don't have to worry about somebody, I just got to buy from them because they in the fellowship, but they stuff ain't as good, and I done told them 2 or 3 times, and it's still bad, and you ain't got to worry about that, because just like in the world, competition is going to rise up. Competition is going to say, okay, your candles ain't as good, but sister so-and-so's can, and I'm still buying in the fellowship. So competition is going to require people to step up and step out on and do what is needed to be done. And so we don't have to put people out of business. People going to put themselves out of business. So don't feel bad when you say, I done tried them. I done did it over and over. I done tried to pour into them and let them know, your string beans are too salty. You can only tell people but so much. And here's the thing. I've been in business and learned long enough to know that there are some people who are not business people. Some people are workers. That's what they're good at. They're good at taking order. That's get to that part about walking in your own calling. And some people are good at administration. There's some people who are they got great minds. They can think and they can come up with the best idea. They're the most offensive people you ever wanted to be around. If they talk to you more than 5 minutes, they'd have made you mad. But it's good. You get somebody, match them with somebody that's a people person, and take those ideas and present it to the people, and then you can get a winner. So we have to learn how to get wins out of things, because everybody got some gift in them. They got the mic right there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Mm-hmm. Adding to as a part of the leadership role, I remembered years back we had a member, a returning resident from London, England, to Jamaica on one of Bishop's church. And while living there, doing very well. But to make a long story short, her husband wasn't doing well, so she decided to go back to London, England, mm-hmm. and she sold her house. And going into the church, because one of Bishop's churches on a hill, so we have just one-way drive in, and you have to park properly so as someone to come in. Mm. And she decided to donate $250,000 or $500,000 to the church. Mm-hmm. As a leader back in Jamaica, the bishop there that preside, she called me to ask Bishop if could they have permission to use that money to make a second road to come up to the church. Bishop said, yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm. That's leadership role. But then that money would buy materials. They put paper, pen together, and heads, and they put together a plan. Teachers, workers, everybody that were in the church, principal, they come together. Women, children, mm-hmm. and they carry the stone. And it's a good way. Mm-hmm. On their heads up to the church side. And the contractors didn't take all the money. They take a part because they have to buy the materials. And then during that time, the material run out. The women, because most of them, some of them do farming, they put their money together and get their partner money, put it together and finish that road. Mm-hmm. And it comes together that they make a video of it. And when Bishop traveled to Jamaica, although he was eating after lunch, they said, Bishop, look, there was a little baby. His stone wasn't as big as my face, was throwing in a stone and a heap. So, is a togetherness. It's sharing. And when as leaders, we don't look on one leader, but all come together as one. And thank you, sir. I thank you very much for this input. It just push us further,
I thank you for that, because I 100% agree. Leaders lead, but everybody got something to do. From the smallest baby, I remember they had gutted the room out downstairs, and I had the saints down there, and I was down, and a little baby, she about Grace, I guess, to be about 5 or 6 years old, and I heard her. She looked up at her mama, because the place looked like a tornado had then hit it by the time they gutted. She said, "Mommy, what we gonna do?" Her mother say, "Whatever the bishop say, that's what we're going to do." But it was, she wanted to do something. And she came down there and they helped. Everybody helped. And that's how Nehemiah didn't say it got built because the leaders had a mind to lead, but the people had a mind to work. And when the people got a mind to work, it gets done. First Lady, did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. Yes.
Mike, but I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to sit here today, simply because God is talking, and I happened Pastor Golson and I happened to be talking about this very thing this week because the Lord woke me up out of my sleep. And because I know that the Lord has given her a ministry for finance, I called her and I was sharing with her what the Lord, what I woke up with. Because I was saying how many of us here, right here in this ministry, and I know you're talking about the fellowship, but it all adds up, is I was saying to her how we are retired. The Lord has given us, when I say gifts and talents here, and I was talking to her about how a lot of us, we went out and got government-wide training, state training, and local, different trainings, and we're retired with that information in us. And I don't believe God wants us to sit on it at this time, and we're supposed to be taking that information, doing something with it. And I told her how I was trained over 40 years to read and interpret policy, government, state, local, and whenever anything is happening and anything's going here. Even when you were talking, my first thing is, what's the standard of policy? And when a lot of times in church, we don't think that there's a standard and a policy and a law that goes to what we do, but it is. Our law is the word of God. So, where's the law? And then what is the policy that drives the law and all of those kinds of things? And that's the kind of stuff that the Lord gave us. And now what are we doing with it spiritually? And that's kind of where I really appreciate it, because a lot of people don't even know during tax season, I prepare taxes, but I don't put it out there because I don't charge people to prepare their taxes. I use platforms and software to get the taxes out there. And my thing to them, it's not a charge. You got to pay for your materials. I have the material, but it got to be paid to go through. And if I say to you, it's $20. You don't want to give me $20 to send your electronic taxes when you're going to go to a tax person that's going to charge you $500, $600, $700, sometimes $1,000 to prepare your taxes, and then you owe. But so one of the things is that we just got to know what we have among us and learn how to use it and use it correctly. Like you said, we got to not abuse one another. So that's it right there is that. I said it. My husband will tell you, I was talking to him about it. I said, one of the things is that America is built off the sweat, blood, and tears of people that's our color. I was thinking about my daughter wants to open up, but she went to culinary school and she wants to do food. And she thinks that Paula Deen is I hope everybody not in Paula Deen fans, and I'm not talking about the stuff. And I told her, I say, Ebony, you know why Paula Deen is rich and why Paula Deen is famous? Her chef, her cook, and all her recipes came from somebody the same color as you. And then she won't give that woman that credit.
No, they don't.
It's among us. We got it. It's here. We just gotta learn to use what God gave us. And one of the things that you said that stays in it's our mindset. When we gotta change our mindset in our own community in order for us to flourish and be what God called us to be and do what God called us to do. And we got a leader. Bishop saw a lot of this stuff before it. I keep looking at it and saying, Bishop told us this 2 years ago. Bishop said that 3 years ago. Bishop preached that series 5 years ago. It's the enemy among us, different things. So we just, I don't want to keep up a lot of time, but I just wanted to say that.
But thank you, because you're so very right. And one of the things, it is a mindset. If I had time and I would have brought up Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and how the black people there owned everything, did everything. They were a self-sufficient community. So what I'm talking about is not something new. It's not something that haven't been done. It's just our mindset is we think white is right, and I don't know where that came from. But that's the mindset that many of us seem to possess now, and we've got to get rid of that. Because tough times are coming, and I've been teaching it and preaching it. They are coming, and we got to prepare ourselves in every way we can to be self-sufficient.
Blessings, sir.
God bless you.
My first question is, are we able to get a copy of this PowerPoint?
Yes, I can put it in a PDF file, and I'll send it out to Bishop, and he can distribute it however he chooses.
Okay, my second question would be this. How would the church establish helping the people to become and a business? I was overly blessed because when my business got started many years ago, my former pastor, she helped me because she was teaching on Deuteronomy 8:18, behold, I give unto you power to get wealth. Mm-hmm. And she started Personal Touch off. And then she came back to reinforce that Personal Touch had a good launch. Mm-hmm. And what we did was Personal Touch then sold back into the ministry because Personal Touch handled all the pictures, all the video, all the media, all the DVD creations, which blessed the ministry back. Mm-hmm. Because I know it's hard getting a loan from a bank or a credit union when you don't have assets.
Exactly.
So what would the criteria of the church be, or how would that get formulated? So if someone came and said, the Lord gave me an idea to birth this, or the Lord gave me an idea to birth that, and you hear the leader say, did you try this, that, and you say, yes, I did, but I was wondering if the church could. So how would the church handle the criteria in helping?
Okay.
If it makes sense.
You're making perfect sense. And I briefly touched on it in the PowerPoint that one, it would not be an overnight thing that the fellowship could immediately do. It would take 3 to 5 years before the fellowship is positioned to financially help people start. Because what would it start with Bishop would have to appoint someone, set someone up over those finances, a committee, but every pastor would have to agree that on a monthly basis, we're sowing into that fund. That fund is not for anything but helping economic empowerment when we're ready to start with it. And so every church is committed to pouring into that fund. And when you say, okay, we have the fund at a certain level, we can start to give some low or interest-free loans at that point, small amounts. You have to start out with small amounts until money is starting to come back into, refurbish it and things like that. But one thing I put in the PowerPoint, I didn't put in that 90 days, establish who we're giving the money to right away. I said, establish what is the mission or what idea do we want to try to fund first? Do we want to try to fund somebody with a photography business first? Do we want to try to fund maybe getting a laundromat up first? What is it that, so once you know what it is that you want to start trying to fund first, that gives you an idea how long it's going to take you to get what you need to do that. So that's the financial piece. But to this young lady's words about the talent that is in the organization already, you begin to formulate business talented people who can help you build a business plan, who can help you through the steps of incorporation, who can help. Now that don't cost any money if these people are willing to say, once a month, we're going to be at Manna Fellowship. Bishop going to let us use downstairs. We're going to set up some table. Come with your question. It's a free session. We just going to give our answers based on our wealth of knowledge that God have allowed us to accumulate over years. That's how the church can help pour into. Yes, Bishop.
Being a musician, I used to teach, And one of the criterias that I had was people would say, well, I want to learn how to play. And I play guitar. I said, well, buy a guitar.
Right.
The first thing you need to do is buy a guitar, because there's no need of me getting involved with you and you haven't shown enough interest to at least go buy your own instrument. And then to further that, one thing that we did at our church is that we had an LLC class. So I could see that happening, where everybody that wants to start a business that already has their idea of what they're going to do, they can Zoom in or whatever it is, and then someone can teach them how to formulate your own LLC. And then once you fill that out, you have to pay your own money. Because there's no need of you saying you want a business or have a business and you're not willing to invest in it yourself. Let's start there, and then we can start. I don't want to speak out of turn, but if we start there, then we know who to invest in, because we don't want to invest our money in someone that's not ready to invest in themselves.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%. Yes, First Lady.
Praise the Lord, everyone. Want to say thank God for my husband for this presentation. You did an amazing job. I am so glad it's up, it's out, and it's over, because I have to proofread this stuff over and over and over again.
Hey, get me up, look, it's
But
simple.
piggybacking off of the gentleman here, of what he said, when we invest, and I like how he brought out the factor of our young people. Our young people seems to get lost and forgotten. When that's done, they go out in this world and they get into a lot of negative things, and then we're talking about that portion of their life, not realizing that we could have invested in them when we had them. We can't wait till they get to 18, 19 years old trying to invest in them and seeing their failures. Now we're talking about them. You have to start when they are young. I have a granddaughter, great-granddaughter. She looks at Simone Biles all the time. She told me, Nanny, I want to be like her one day. I invest in her. Every Saturday, she's at gymnastics, doing gymnastics, and I pay for it. We have a young lady over in Haiti. We do mission in Haiti. Young lady over there that we have adopted. I kind of adopted her. For the last 3 years, I have invested in her by making sure I pay for her education, as well as her food and her clothing and things like that, because I know how hard it is over there. This young lady is so appreciative of the fact of where she's going. Banking off of what he said, she had a little rough moment. She wanted to give up. I had to just remind her of how far we have come with this. I know what you're going through over there with your country, with the government and everything else, but if you give up now, the devil wins. My money is lost. My time is lost. My investment in you is lost. So just by pointing that out to her, that gave her the encouragement to continue to go on. She is now 1 year left to finish, and it takes forever for Haiti to get through educational. She's trying to be a nurse. But because of that, as he said, the investment has to be there for our young people. That is how you even pour back into them as well. Give them the mindset to go and be excellent at something, to do their best, knowing that someone is standing there supporting them.
Thank you. And I can't drive home the theme of excellence enough. I believe in excellence. I don't want anything half done. You know, if to me, don't do it at all. If you're gonna have to do it, don't even do it. You know, but if you're gonna do it the most excellent way possible. In business, getting back to business, to Bishop Russell's point about getting the LLC, getting that done, one of the things I've found, even people who have, what would make this so powerful among you is because even people who have the ability and willingness to invest that money to set up their LLC and get that done, there's two things that hinder them after that. And one is they don't know how to market their business. Marketing is everything. And even the second thing, even while you're marketing, you can waiting for the marketing to finally kick in can take some time. So having the fellowship as a customer base will help you survive while you're waiting for the marketing to kick in. Those two things there can make a business that would have failed immediately last and survive and thrive. And again, this is not just about survival, it's about thriving, because we don't want just enough. We want an abundance. It can be done, yes.
Thank you. I don't want to weary you, but on the note of First Lady, what she's saying, sowing into people that she don't even know. Mm-hmm. But, our heart is with that person to reach the highest. Mm-hmm. In other words, not when they are, reach way up in 18, 19, you're going to sow in. Mm-hmm. As I said, I don't want to weary you, but Bishop, not to put you on the spot, my Bishop Wallace, but I have to give him great honor and credit. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when he sees, I remember years ago, he said he sees a passion for Jamaica. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Jamaica alone, but when I came here, and he had trust me. He had seen that trust within me, and I'm happy for that. Mm-hmm. And, going on, he had sown so much. And I remembered long before the pandemic, he had invested so much. And at one time he said to me, Pastor, some of those things that you are giving away, because he paid that money every month to someone that was bringing in stuff, to me. He said, remember, you spray everything when they come in. Make sure, because it's coming to your house. Mm-hmm. And when the trucks pull up, they would call people from next door to help them take. At that time, I was living at the second floor. Mm-hmm. But to say this, I looked in it when he said, you can sell some of those things. When I go back Jamaica, I'm tired, but I would go to the market and I started to sell things and invest. That investment, when it was during the pandemic, we didn't have to send money back home to help nobody because you couldn't send money. Mm-hmm. But we had set up shops in the markets that selling those things could help the shut-in. The people couldn't go anywhere because they could walk it. Mm-hmm. We couldn't walk it and reach each other halfway to help people. Mm-hmm. And again, some money saved to send some of them to London, England. Mm-hmm. Even a week ago, one of our grandson, he graduated from Tennessee University from monies. Mm-hmm. And you have, I think, 5 or 6 children. One is a lawyer, one does banking, work with the crypto bank in Malaysia. He's the assistant general manager. Mm-hmm. You have one who finished university in music. She travel around, teaches music, write music. And the list go on and on because of investment. Mm-hmm. And what he taught me is not only Jamaica alone. I do nursing, and people would come, pack the trucks to send it to Haiti, over in Africa, all different places that we didn't know. Mm-hmm. They didn't know him, but they heard of this great Bishop Jonathan Wallace. Mm. So he's untouchable. So the devil better leave him because it's too much prayers. Mm. Because when you help people from nothing to reach somewhere, those prayers are answered. That's it. God bless you. I won't go on.
Amen. You're welcome. Is there anything else before I turn it back to Bishop Wallace? And if if it come to you later, if you have any questions, I'm certainly always available. God bless you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. I apologize. I think I went over a little bit, but God bless you all.
Can we one more time give God praise for Apostle Derek Williams doing an excellent job, such great information, and he is really just expanding on some of the things that we have talked about, and we can literally see him actually fleshing those things out on paper, and I want to make certain that we get the entire presentation. In fact, I really want him to come back on a Tuesday night Bible study, and we're going to invite all of the fellowship pastors to come and send representation. I really would like for you to review this. There is so much information there that really could not be digested in just one setting, but very powerful. I'll say this as we prepare to dismiss. First of all, let's give God praise for an excellent presentation. Well done, very thorough. We are living in a time, and for those of you that were listening specifically, he used the theme, lock the door. And that immediately connotes, for those of you that have been active on social media, lock the door. They gave Bishop Marvin Sapp a very hard time, and all he was asking for was the saints would, before they left it, they would sow $20. Lord help us. But to make a long story short, what he really brought to light was in the Asian community, 28 days their money stays in their community. In the Jewish community, 20 days. But I was shocked. I knew it was a short time in the black community, but I did not know it was 6 hours, which tells you that just as quickly as we can get our hands on our money, it doesn't stay with us very long, but goes quickly out of our community. And obviously, we have to do something about that. I'll close with this. He also dealt with the fact, and it may appear that we, because we are in a moment where we are addressing specifically what's happening in our churches. Well, our church is 90+% people of color. And if people of color are now being assaulted, if we are being blamed as the reason for all of the social ills in this nation, and if you can see when this administration came into office, the first thing they did was begin to demote, begin to remove, they didn't reassign. In fact, they just fired folk in the military who were in ranking positions in governmental structures, began to move them systematically. And in fact, when they instituted this Department of Government Efficiency, called DOGE, what they were really doing, that was not by happenstance, it was not haphazard. There was a strategy that was employed, and we discovered that there are so many women of color in many of those governmental positions who were systematically removed. It may have seemed like it was haphazard, but there was a plan that was in place to literally gut those aspects of our governmental structures, and many people of color were removed. And thank God that they were able to go to the courts who were seemed to be at least favorable to them, and some of them, of course, were either reassigned or at least, even if they were forced out, were given monies that they were due. To make a long story short, that same sentiment is brazen, it's open, it's not hidden. It is, this is the devil, y'all, that has literally taken over this administration to the point that now they're not hiding the fact that anything black and brown, they are going to assault, and they're going to do their best to put their foot on the necks of people of color. And so as leaders, because we pastor, we lead folk, we've got to get you through this season. I don't know how long. In fact, if you can look at what he's doing, he does not plan to be taken out of office. He's doing his best to dismantle the democracy and the government as we know it. And literally, the attempt is to employ the military. Obviously, he's using ICE and anybody else that he can use, any federal authorities to intimidate and to as relates to y'all watch what's happening with this midterm and what's going to happen in November. The intent is not only to intimidate, but literally you'll find people of color being arrested, not getting the opportunity to vote because they know very well if this was a vote based on policy alone, they lose. Because their policies are not only not helping us, but really doing major harm to people of color. To make a long story short, all of these things that we see coming, we prophesied this, we've told you what's ahead, we see it forming, but one of the things that I will decree and I will declare that no weapon that's formed against us shall prosper. And every tongue that rises up against us, God said he would condemn it. And so we're believing God, my last 60 seconds, the same way that God preserved the children of Israel in Egyptian captivity. Those plagues hit the Egyptians, but God spared the children of Israel. I believe that God's going to do the same thing. And that same tongue that's rising up, speaking ill of people of color, just like Balaam was hired by Balak to come and to prophesy against the children of Israel, but God got a hold of him and told him he could not curse what God had already blessed. He could only bless the people of God. And so he had to decree and declare. He had to put it in the atmosphere. God has already blessed them, and it cannot be reversed. What Apostle has been giving us today is ways that we can employ as we work together, that we can use these mechanisms, we can use the gifts and talents that are within our various church communities, pull those energies together, pull those resources together, lock the door on your dollars. Don't let them outside our community. And as we do that, we're able to empower one another. With that said, thank you again, Apostle. Well said, well done. And we're going to work post-haste with your schedule to get you back to do that same presentation. I want it here on our Bible study night, and I invite all of the other pastors to bring their congregations. I believe everybody needs to hear that, and there should be quickly. We want to stand up a committee that begins in the local church to actually begin to put in force those very things that you've talked about today. Any other questions before we dismiss? Thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to come. Let's pray, and we're going to dismiss. Father, thank you again for this word of wisdom, this word of knowledge, this insight that you've given this man of God to impart to us. God, we thank you even for those who are viewing us virtually today. We thank you again, Lord, that you've been so gracious and so kind to give us a plan, to give us a course of action. And God, as we hear this thing, here in our souls shall live. Now, God, as we leave this place, go with us, God, go before us and bring us back even tonight, Lord. Speak to our hearts once again. And all that we say and do, God, we want you to be glorified. Now may the grace of God, the sweet communion of the Holy Ghost, rest, rule, and abide with us now, henceforth, and forevermore. And all that love the Lord simply say amen. God bless you. We'll go to lunch and we'll see you back here at 7 p.m. this evening. Thank you again, Apostle.